Hello and welcome to Network Automation using Napalm. This is our first lesson, so before anything else, we do need to first set up our lab. Okay, so basically, we will be using Eve NG, as you can see over here. We will use this one, and then we'll try to create our network using Eve Lite, and then we'll try to SSH to those devices. But before that, one thing that we need to do first is that we need to provide a IP address to Eve Lite in order for us to connect to it. Okay, so basically what will happen is that um, the Eve virtual ng by default does not give us a IP address to use to access it. Basically it will request an IP address, and basically what we'll do is that we'll try to create a DHCP server that will lend an IP address to it, and then using that IP address we can then use that one to access Eve NG. Okay, so one thing is that so let's start. So go to the VirtualBox and go to preference, go to networks, click host only network, and then from there click the host only, the vbox.net, click the edit. Make sure the IP address is what you see here. Go to DHCP server, click enable server. Basically this DHCP server is the one that gives out the IP address to Eve Lite. So we'll copy the IP address here, and then we'll try to paste it to the server IP address. Okay, the server IP address means that this will act as our default gateway or our default route. Basically what this will do is that everything will pass through to this IP address, going inside or outside. So the lower bounds and upper bounds basically means that which IP addresses will be lent to the DHCP client. So if we put here 10 to 60, what will this do is that it will get an IP address between 10 to 60, and then it will basically it will use this one to it will use this IP addresses, and it will give those IP addresses to the VM that is requesting it, or to the host that is requesting it, or to the DHCP client, basically to the DHCP client that is requesting it. So it means that if we go back here, the DHCP server can say that it will use 10, and then it will assign this IP address to this virtual ng, or it can assign basically 60. So anything that is in between 10 to 60, basically that is the meaning of this one. So if I click OK, and then I click OK, so we created the host only network adapter. We go to settings, network, and we need to click host only adapter, and make sure that allow all is clicked, and then we click all. So let's start. Let's click start. So what this will do is that it will open the VM, and then it will request for an IP address, and then the DHCP server that we just created will lend an IP address to this VM. Okay, so let's try to wait. Okay, so as you can see, the DHCP server lent me an IP address of 192.168.56.60. So if we open a terminal and try to do a simple ICMP ping, 192.168.56.60. So as you can see, you're able to ping this one, and you will also use that to access the Eve itself. So we go to the browser and access this one. I'll try to just log out to make sure. Okay, and the username would be admin, and the password would be Eve. We are able to connect to Eve. So one thing that might come into mind is that since it is a host only adapter, only your computer can have access to this IP address, basically to the Eve ng. So any host outside your computer will not be able to access that one.